Hello, welcome back to the Art House. In this session I'm going to be running through how to make jug lips. So I'm going to be starting out throwing a small tall narrow form out of a £1 450 gram piece of clay, and then I'll be showing you what we can do to the lip of the piece to make it good for pouring stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to get stuck in getting this thrown. So I'll just be running through the usual steps to throwing a tall, narrow, cylindrical form, and then I'll be modifying the shape slightly to make it better suited to a jug. So being a jug form, I'm going to give it a slightly bigger belly lower down here, and then as we get up to here, I'm just going to close it back in on itself slightly. So I find that jug forms tend to benefit from being closed in a bit more towards the neck, just so that it channels the liquid in a way that causes it to come out of the jug a bit more smoothly. So without any channeling inwards happening here, the liquid can just kind of slosh over the rim once it gets to the top. And leaving the form something like that for the purposes of our jug. So when it comes to making the pouring lip, I find the best way to do it is I use my index finger and thumb of one hand just to support the rim. So these are just staying here like so. Then I'm going to use my index fingertip. So it's starting out vertically on the inside, and it's going to be running back and forth between my index fingertip and thumb tip on the outside. So just running back and forth along the rim, and as it's doing this, it's just coming out and over the top, like so. Just making sure there's plenty of water on there so that it doesn't stick. Something like that. So once you have the basic form of the lip, this is when a bit of fine tuning can come into play. So I'm just going to continue kind of waggling that finger around, checking the overall shape. You want the inside angle of the lip to be quite deep so that the water has a clear channel to run along. So kind of really getting down into the body of the piece and working back and forth and outwards. And you want to make sure there's a fairly deep kind of channel for the liquid to flow out of here. So you want this to be quite a deep overhang. So to modify the shape further, you can kind of push inwards a bit more with this finger and thumb, just to kind of tighten up that opening, and modify that just with a continuation of the shaping of the throat. And then it's really just a case of fine-tuning, making sure you're happy with all of the angles and all of the curves, and that everything looks nice and even. So this is where I would leave this for the time being. Once this has dried out and stiffened up, you can fine-tune and tweak and smooth out any rough surfaces. So jug lips can come in a wide variety of different shapes and sizes. You can have quite deeply plunging, quite large lips like so. You can have much smaller, tighter lips. If you're practicing making jug lips and you've thrown a piece like this, you can make several on the same piece just for the sake of practicing. So having made that one there, I could then go on to making another one here. So just doing the same thing again, waggling back and forth, coming out from the centre, up and over the top. So my finger starting vertical and ending up horizontal, but whilst it's making this motion, running back and forth over the lip. So one or two common pitfalls to avoid when it comes to making a jug lip. So if you focus on this one here, so this one it's only been given quite a slight working, so it's still kind of angling very much upwards, which means that as the liquid is exiting this curve here, it can be more likely to kind of run and follow the body down, and that's where you get dribbles starting to happen. So by contrast, going for a deeper plunge in the lip will reduce the risk of the liquid clinging to the pot and running down the outside. So that's one thing to be aware of, is making sure the lip is deep enough. Another thing to watch out for is the thickness of the clay up at the rim here. So in the lip, you want the clay to be fairly thin so that it provides quite a sharp cut-off point, again to reduce that risk of liquid sticking to the clay and dribbling down the outside. So those are a couple of things that will help make jug lips work better. So quite a deep plunging angle and a fairly sharp lip. You don't want to make the lip too sharp, because once it's glazed and fired, it can be a chipping risk if it is super thin. So just typically 2 or 3 millimeters tends to be a good thickness to aim for. So this is what a form might end up looking like if you're practicing lips on. So obviously you wouldn't expect to keep something like this and use this as a jug, or maybe you would, I suppose, if you're in for something a bit quirky. But doing this, kind of getting 4 practice lips out of a piece, can be quite a good, effective way to practice making lips. Because you're not expecting to keep the piece and use this as a jug, it does just free you up a bit to try things out and maybe make some mistakes that you would be scared to make if you were looking to keep the jug that you're making. So once you've made a lip like so, you could attach a handle on the other side, and there you would have a perfectly serviceable jug. And there we have it. Just a fairly quick and simple way of turning something into a jug. Give it a go, see how you get on with it. We're going to leave it there for the time being, but as always, thank you for watching. Do please check out our other videos, subscribe, all of that stuff to support the Art House, and we will see you next time.